say can and will be held against you or used in support of your defense. This is the February meeting of the Kent County Economic and Tourism Development Commission. Anybody here for any other reason? Good. Welcome to everybody. We'd like to welcome back both Cindy Gettner and Aaron Bramble, who had served previously on this commission and had nothing better to do today. So here they are. And a welcome to Judy Crow, making her triumphant first visit to this commission. Judy, can you spend a moment just tell us about Crow Vineyards and what you've been doing for the last 100 years?
Well, Crow Farm is a 365-acre working farm that has 100 head of Angus beef. We also raise grapes. We have 12.5 acres of grapes. We also make wine. We have a 5,000 case production winery. We make wine for us and for 3 or 4 other wineries in the area. And we also have a bed and breakfast. So it's our own little tourism industry along with production of product and sales, retail right there at the farm.
And we have only just recently merged tourism and economic development into a single commission. So to have a tourism representative, Judy, we welcome you aboard and look forward to your input.
Thank you.
So we have minutes from our January meeting. Everybody, I'm sure, has committed them to memory. Do we have any additions or corrections?
None.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have official minutes. I did make one little correction,
Okay,
and I sent them into Rose.
okay,
So-
awesome, thank you so
So
much.
we're in good shape.
We appreciate the extra eyes on that,
Just a typo.
thank you.
We do have several guests here today. The first presentation from Homeports. Ladies, if you want to come forward, we have Gail Drenning and Jeanette Jeffrey, who are going to tell us about one of our own homegrown nonprofit organizations for the 55 and better population.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us here, and I have visited Crow, and that is a lovely place to go. So my name is Jeanette Jeffrey, and I am the new executive director as of 1 year ago. Just this month was my official year, or last month. So Karen Wright, who some of you may know, was the executive director for 14 years with Homeports. And our organization is a nonprofit, and we serve the 55-plus population in Kent County. We are a membership organization, so for $350 a year, that affords a member 5 free rides throughout Kent County, and then also invitations to all of our monthly social and educational events. We have a newsletter. We have a new board member who is an elder care lawyer, retired, who is providing services in terms of any advice, but not legal, just if folks need a little bit of information about legal documents. And the real focus of Homeports is to reduce isolation and loneliness among our older adults. So prior to coming to Kent County 2 years ago, I was a professor for 30 years in public health. And I ended up my stint in academia working for University of Maryland Extension. And my research area as a tenure-track professor was in isolation, loneliness, and depression among older adults and farmers. So what a great place to be in Kent County with our very high agricultural area. And when you look at our population, 48.6% of Kent County is age 50 plus. And so we know that the need don't have a lot of transportation service options, especially for our older adults. But I kind of started off without asking, how many of you before this have even heard of Homeports before? Okay.
Has anybody not heard of it? Anybody not? Well, I mean, people, some don't know about us.
And I have asked people, what do you know about home ports? I generally get the answer of, oh, you take old people to the doctor, right? So,
Which
but
is true.
we do that. That is part of it. But what we've done is try to put a new face to home ports. And so if you go to homeports.org, we have a lovely new website. We also are showing up with a refreshed look on Facebook, and we have an Instagram account. Now, we're looking for someone that has social media skills that can help us to keep these updated, but we're trying to get out there in the community and show folks that we really are a group that is working to promote and to celebrate aging, and so that individuals can continue to safely live and age in their own homes. And so with that, I will turn it over to Gail.
Oh, my goodness. Sure, if you don't mind. There's not that many. I have no idea what I was walking into, so. A lot of what we do, obviously, is what she said, is, hope to keep people in their homes, try to stimulate them, keep them connected to the community. The rides make the phone ring. People really do see us as a transportation company, which we do. However, there's just a little more to it. We have a book club. We have calls that we make to these folks that are in their home. We can do visits. We have minor home repairs. We have a newsletter. We have connections that continues to go, it continue to evolve as we get volunteers who are more willing to do things for these folks.
And Gail also just came on in the last year as the president. We had, unfortunately, a lovely gentleman by the name of Tom Eager. Some of you may have known Tom. He was our president, and 3 months into me being the new executive director, he was diagnosed with cancer, and 3 months later, he had passed. So we really did our big push in June when Gail came on as the president as well. So a lot of the work has been trying to get us back out there because the pandemic
Took us to the cleaners.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, because we're older adults, helping older adults, and we physically could not be together. So last year, it was scraping and begging and on bended knee, asking anyone for any funding that they could provide. And the community really did come through, although we're continuously looking for donors. So again, any way that we can partner with any other organizations in putting on any joint events. Every year we have our signature annual wellness fair, Health and Wellness Expo, and hopefully some of you have been there. And for the past 2 years, we've been able to partner with the YMCA. And Erica Osterhout, who is the executive director there, is on our board. And so we've got some really strong-hitting board members who are dedicating a tremendous amount of their time. Another is John Murphy, who is a retired physician, public health physician, and he's on our board. So last year, we had a number of activities, or I should say educational
series where
right.
we could provide a physician giving some oversight. We posted it on the website. Not everybody is savvy, so we have to get things out in paper also, but, and it didn't get out in a timely fashion, so we're going to redo this all. But like accessing your medical records, talking to a physician, all the things that don't go well when somebody goes in and they have something to say and the physician has 10 minutes. So, we try to help people in that way navigate their healthcare also.
So
it isn't a healthcare organization, but
Right.
a lot of aging
has to do with
gets
health.
into healthcare.
So keep an eye out for our calendar. We're going to be pushing out a lot of new activities and social events. Our monthly luncheons are going to be reinstated now that we can all be back together again. And we're having a new series on the health and safety of older adults. And so you'll be seeing more advertisements about that coming soon.
We can help with that, push it out on social media, so,
Oh,
yeah, just share
fantastic.
any type of, if, a PDF is okay, but if you do a JPEG or a PNG, like, those are what we need for social media. I'm looking at my team there too, because I'm not great with it either. But
There- you have
those-
someone.
Those are, yeah, those are the.
thank you,
We'll push that out. We have, on the economic development side, we've got like over 7,000 followers, and then 5 on the tourism side. And some of them are overlap, but not all of them, because it's 2 different pockets. So we'd probably just push that on the economic development side, because it's not
Stay in
really
touch with Jamie,
tourism.
and she'll connect
Yeah.
you into our systems.
Fantastic. And before we wrap up, I do want to say that even though we do have the $350 membership, we have a number of folks that need financial assistance. And so we look everywhere we can to find donors.
And we don't
that
turn
can
people
help.
away.
Right.
And
That
on your
can-
website, I saw a lesser fee for an introductory period.
We have a $100 3-month introductory fee, so if you want to just see what we're all about, and then we prorate. So if someone loves us after 3 months, then it's $250 to finish up a year, a 12-month cycle for them. But again, any money that we can get coming our way to help support our members, bring on those that are in financial need, people that use our service love the service because it's volunteers also. And the really interesting thing is that I have so many volunteers that tell us that they're receiving more than they're giving, that actually volunteering is helping them get out of the house and meet new folks. So it's really a beautiful reciprocal community that is
How many
established.
volunteers do you have, and how many do you need?
Currently, we have about 30 volunteers. We can always use more. In total, right now, we've got about 30 members. Now, when I say 30 volunteers, not every volunteer
Right.
is very active. They're on our roster. We have a hardcore 10, I'll tell you that.
That drive, that do things, that are more willing to think outside of the box. There's a few people there, maybe more than even half, that are not so willing, let's say, to drive to Rock Hall.
Right, they want to just stay in Chestertown area.
You know,
Right.
they have visions of being a volunteer, but you really have to be willing to do this. You have to be willing, you know. So we're always looking at, but we have people that don't drive, and we're willing to take them on because there's other things. I mean, there's event planning, there's fundraising, there's.
Social media.
Social media, there's all these things that we do need help with that doesn't require picking up a resident.
And
a person.
Homeports was established in 2007, so we have been around for a while now.
As you grow back to normal,
Yes.
what's yet to be done?
So I love that question, Richard, because we are looking at history here, and in our heyday, we had 190 members and 90 volunteers.
So we're real shy of that.
Yeah, just a tad.
There's your
So
opportunity.
our big thing is trying to get the word out about Homeports, trying to put on programs, like one of our big events of pushing us out. We started at the, in front of Twigs and Teacups, the
Oh, we
First
did
Friday
First Fridays.
event.
We're at the farmer's market.
Yep, and then
We
we
do-
had a coffee every week at the YMCA, and then we had a fundraiser at the Watershed. In fact, we were the first to host a fundraiser at the Watershed last year with Chef Rodney. So we're trying to get the word out, and, you know, the sky's the limit. We would love to get back and exceed our 190
But you see, we have some work
plus.
to do.
Yeah,
There's opportunity
opportunity, I
opportunity.
love that.
from members of the commission.
Do you have any other staff besides you? Just
She-
you?
And I'm part-time.
And and then, do you have any way, like, one of the big issues out in the community is where to find assistance when your spouse or someone needs, you know, to be taken care of?
Right.
Do you have any directory on that or anything to help people?
So
or-
I would say one of the best sources is the Shore Community Outreach Team that's affiliated with the hospital. One of the community advocates was a member on our board. And so they have a social worker, they have 2 community outreach folks, and they have a nurse. And so they compile the list and have them right on hand. So
So you
any-
refer them to the.
I
Well,
do.
they're out in
Yeah.
the community, they're seeing patients. They're seeing patients. Some of these patients can be referred, so they're a referral source. But we have the website, we have the number, of course, that can connect you with Jeanette. And then, you know, we're at the farmer's market, we're trying to get involved in as much as we can possibly get. So the more people know, the more questions they ask, the more we can say, yes, we can do this, no, we can't, but we can refer you here. Or we can't do this, but we can help you with this.
And we also partnered with University of Maryland Extension last year by supporting their grant proposal that they put in for Alzheimer and dementia education for caregivers. So even though we don't provide that service, we look to bring in programming and support caregivers that I get calls all the time for
bet
that.
you do, yeah.
You know, do you know of somebody that can come in home? And that's only going to grow with our aging population. So I appreciate the question.
And you're based at Town Hall or?
Yeah. Second floor, Town
Okay,
Hall. Come
okay,
on by anytime.
Yeah. You serve more than just Kent County.
No, we're just within Kent County. And so that's also the case when someone needs a ride, and so many of the medical rides are in Easton now, or even we had one member that needed to go over to the city, into University of Maryland. And so but because we are volunteer-driven, it's just within the Kent County area.
We go over to Queen Anne's.
Just in the 21620
Right.
zip
That's
code.
Polly, you had a question?
Yeah.
I'm pleased to say I've participated in multiple programs since
Yay.
your initiation, and I think your wellness conference or your, whatever you call it, every year is.
Expo.
Great expo.
Isn't it great?
It's a great addition to the community. And also gives local business people, by the same token, local business opportunity to showcase their services.
Right.
And I think that's very important.
Yes.
So my question is, are you still qualifying businesses as recommended services for your members? And if so, what's that process?
So back in the day, there used to be a vetting system for
A
if you
vendor list.
needed a vendor list, right? You needed a plumber or mechanic, that there was a vetted list. The former executive director had said she asked each one of these vendors to keep account of how many folks from home ports actually use their service, and found out that it was next to nothing. She said that the squeeze was not worth the juice. And in this day and age, with our litigious society, it's a little concerning of if we are going to recommend something, could that potentially be an issue coming back if there was any issue? We
we
have
do
so
it.
many Facebook pages now, Chestertown happening, even the dark side of Chestertown, where if somebody calls me and asks, I will do a quick search on one of those, and I'll say, I'm going to tell you what people are talking about in Chestertown. I'm not telling you that this is who you should go to, but these are folks that are recommended. And so I go so far as that. But in terms of creating a list and going out to vet, again, I'm 20 hours a week, and it's more than just I can.
However, we're connected
Do
to
initially.
Rebuild Together. I mean, we have a working relationship. We're not Rebuild Together and Home Ports, but we have a working relationship. They have quite a list. They are very well connected. So we can easily say to a person who has a question, I don't have that information for you, I can get it, we can refer them to Rebuild Together. We have somebody from who's on our board now, who worked for them in a paying capacity. So we have the information, we just don't have our own vetted list.
I understand, but I will make a
Uh-huh.
suggestion to you.
Please.
As a realtor,
Yep.
often dealing with older clientele who are living at home, they are often at a loss to
Right.
identify trusted service providers. And maybe there's a way, and I'm not sure what it would be, for you to be able to tell your members where other members have had a good experience
Right.
with particular service providers and recommend.
Well, let me just give you a little anecdotal story, because we did have a woman who is in her 90s, she's legally blind, and she needed her gutters cleaned. And so I went through online, I found a couple of folks that did the cleaning, and one of them came to her home and actually said, we're going to do this job for you for free.
Good result.
And so, yeah, so I work on that way from, looking, I love that about this town. People are so willing to pitch in. and also to give you their very frank experience on those Facebook sites. So that's, I think, has been very helpful. But I do hear your point there of
And the
relying
other
on
part of it
testimony.
is even though it didn't work so well for Karen, but she was bumping into the pandemic, where things were
that's
falling
true.
apart. It's not to say that we won't consider even going back into that. We're back only 1 year.
Right.
And so that year went by so quickly, I think it is worth looking back at and seeing if we can't identify some.
Each of these little success stories or vignettes seem to be newsworthy, that would be coverable by local media and gives you the publicity that will be beneficial in attracting members and dollars. Are you covered by HIPAA requirements?
We are not,
Okay.
because we don't really work with any.
Don't do the
We're
healthcare
not doing
yourself.
any healthcare.
We don't provide healthcare. We provide rides. And then we do train our volunteers. All of our volunteers actually go through a background check. So it's both a sexual and driving background check.
criminal background
And criminal, right. Sexual, criminal, and drive, if they're going to be a driver. The only caveats we have in terms of membership, if someone has dementia or if someone is wheelchair-bound, that we cannot bring them on as a member because our volunteers aren't trained to
Yeah.
do so, nor capable, so with their vehicles.
Right, but I'm a nurse, and not to say that that's the end-all to be all, although it is. But no, but anyway, I do go out and meet each potential member and take a look at their house and take a look at them and make sure that they can walk out to a car. Even if they have a walker, that's not a problem. But if they're literally wheelchair-bound, there would only be one person, it would be me.
understand.
There aren't going to be drivers that are willing to work with that. So we have to be careful, and so that just requires somebody to, look at that, do an
Understand.
assessment.
Any final questions from members of the commission?
Well, the other thing I want to commend you on is what I heard you say, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that essentially you're creating a library of information for older people who want to stay home.
Right.
Stay at home. And I think that's a tremendous resource for people that you would do well to promote as another service you provide. If you're living at home and you have questions about how to handle your documents, whatever the subjects are, that's a valuable resource, and it's something that I think older people in the community would be interested to know you can provide.
Right, right.
Gail and Jeanette, thank you both for coming in, sharing your story with us. I think we're all wiser to what you're up to, and we may discover ways that we can add to the confusion.
And that would be so good.
If
Well, thank you,
Thank you
Richard.
very
you're
much.
welcome to stay if you'd like.
Okay.
Pepper, our next presenter with questions.
Okay, great, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
Our next presenter is a familiar face in these hallowed halls and a former member of this commission. Cindy Gentner is a real estate agent, and while she was on the commission, gave us an annual update on how things are going in the real estate world in Kent County. Hopefully, that's what you're prepared for.
No, I'm here to sell you a property.
Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. I mentioned earlier, I was looking back in my files, and in looking back in my files, I realized the first presentation I gave was in 2014, this real estate presentation I gave in 2014. My, how things have changed. So I am Cindy Genther, for anybody who doesn't know me. I'm a real estate broker licensed in the state of Maryland. I have a residential real estate company called Rock Hall Properties, and I am the Maryland broker for the Flynn Company, which is a mid-Atlantic commercial real estate company. So I do real estate on the commercial side as well as on the residential side. Wow, what a year. I'll tell you. It's good I have a few other friendly faces in this audience that have been through this market with us. So, oh, Rose, you got me on this? Perfect. Okay, so
Let me interrupt you one moment.
Go ahead.
I know the screen's not working, so if anybody needs to see her presentation, there's extra copies on the table.
Thank you, Rose. This one's working? Okay. Okay, and there are copies here as well. Okay, so why did I bother showing up this year? It was roughly the same data as last year. Nothing happened in real estate this year. So the real estate market in 2023, roughly the same as the real estate market was in 2022. Similar numbers of houses sold, similar prices, similar days on market. Low inventory is the name of the game in real estate these days in Kent County. All major metrics are relatively flat from 2022. The only significant change really was an increase in the days on market. And we saw longer days on market for properties that needed work. We saw a number of properties come onto the market that needed substantial amounts of work. And of course, sellers who thought they were worth a lot more than they really were, so they stayed on the market for a while until reality set in. However, if a home is priced right, it went under contract within 2 weeks of hitting the market. So let's take a deeper dive into some of these. Why is the market unchanged? Well, low inventory drove lower sales and higher prices. Anybody who's been through an economics class? I don't need to tell you. That's what happens. But sellers have low interest rate mortgages right now. They're 4%, 4% from the good old days of, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And they don't want to sell a house if they have to buy another one with a 6 or 7% mortgage rate. So they're sitting and they're waiting. And they're waiting for rates to come down. But the buyers are still out there. The buyers are still out there. They're calling our phones. They're ringing. I want to buy a house in Kent County, or I want to buy a commercial property. And, but there's no inventory out there. When are we going to see some things? When are we going to see some more things hit the market is when interest rates go down. There's also another new phenomenon that's hitting Kent County that hasn't hit since I started doing this, and we're going to get into that very shortly. New construction. We see this in the Kent County sales details. And if you turn the page, we'll go into, look. We always take a look historically at what happens in the various towns, sales data for the various towns within Kent County. So we look at, there's Chestertown. Mind you, the Chestertown numbers are only the Kent County side of Chestertown, as is Millington, only the Millington side of Kent County. Kent County side of Millington. Anyway, and look, most of these numbers and percent changes are they're either flat or they're down across the board. There's a big exception out there, and that exception is Chestertown. Chestertown, units are up, dollar sales are up, and even though the median sold prices have gone down. That's interesting, right? So we need to take a look at what is driving the change in Chestertown, because obviously something interesting and good is going on there if the market's doing better there. If you go to new construction activity, you'll see in Kent County, these are certificates of occupancy that were issued on building permits. So people moved in to these properties during 2023, or in the case of 2022, in that year, right? And you can see in Kent County, the Kent County number does not include municipalities.
Okay.
So that Kent County number of 35, that's comprised of numbers that are just county, not the municipalities. In that 35 number, they're scattered everywhere. There were seven with a Chestertown zip code, 1 in Galena, 3 in Kennedyville, 1 in Massey, 2 in Millington, 10 in Rock Hall, and 4 in Wharton. Okay, that's interesting. here's what's interesting. Those folks bought, for the most part, those folks owned the lot or land that they built on. They didn't buy a new house on a lot. The new construction in Chestertown was by developers who were selling new homes to new buyers. Big difference. The number in Chestertown are relatively all new homes that were existing new homes sold to new buyers. If you go right to the next one.
Can we go back to the 8 commercial, new commercial?
Oh, sorry, yes, 8 commercial.
Can you tell me some examples? I can't.
Sure. Of the 8 commercial, 7 of them were in the Chestertown zip code, but mostly in the county of Chester, all in the county of Chester, all in the county, but with Chestertown zip codes. Okay, some of the examples. Gillespie did a new construction on Brickyard Road.
Humane Society? Humane
Yeah,
Society was
the
one.
Humane Society was one of them.
Trying to think now.
There's Morgneck Road. There were 3 properties that were developed on Morgneck Road. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 on Morgneck Road, 2 on Bayshore Road in Chestertown. So, and 1 on Fairley Road in Chestertown. So I have a list from the Planning and Zoning Office, if you'd like me to give you that list.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay? So if you look at the new home sales in Chestertown, I dug into this. The data source for this is our multiple list source, multiple list program, which is Bright. There are 2 Chestertown communities that are driving the new construction sales. Those are the Village at Chestertown, which was built out primarily in the last 2 years by D.R. Horton, and Chester Arms. Both of these are off of Sheila Road. The Village at Chestertown has approximately 60 townhouses, 47 single home residences. The townhouses sell for right around $250,000. They're 3-bedroom, 2.5 baths. They're about 1,500 square feet, 1,200 to 1,500 square feet, depending on the model. They're single-family homes in the Village in Chestertown. The average selling price is typically around $335,000, $340,000. That's a 1,500 to 1,800 square foot home, 3 to 5 bedrooms, 2 to 3.5 baths. That's a lot of house for $335,000, $340,000.
What's the square footage, Cindy?
That's of the single-family homes. It's between 1,500 and 2,000. So I'm going to give you an example of why these homes are selling. Chester Arms, just so you know, is they are new duplex, some triplex, but mostly new duplex homes. They're all priced under $250,000. They are priced between $225,000 and $250,000. They are all 3-bedroom. The majority are 3-bedroom to 1.5 to 2 bathrooms. They are typically 1,200 to 1,500 square feet. Let me give you an example of why people are buying these. This is an FHA example. When you, if you buy a house for $250,000, you put 3.5% down, which is an FHA program. That gives you a $241,000 loan at 6%, which is now what FHA rates are right now for 30-year mortgage and good credit. That monthly principal and interest payment is $1,446. People can afford to buy that. People who work here in Kent County, a good majority of them, they can afford $1,400 a month because they're going to pay that. If they were going to rent, that's about what they're going to pay to rent. So let's see. There were a total of 50 units, new homes sold in Chestertown. Total sold dollar volume was 15.5 million. 18 new homes sold for less than $300,000. 31 of them sold between $300,000 and $400,000. Only one sold above $800,000, and that was in Chester River Landing. So these, if you look also at the new home sales, that 15.5 million in total sales will generate 336,000 in annual tax revenue increased tax revenue. That doesn't include the 35 new homes that are built by landowners who are also going to pay a higher tax rate. So if you look at it and say, just this year, in the 35 new homes that were built in Kent County and the 50 that were sold in Chestertown, that's over $500,000 a year in new tax revenue coming into Kent County. When we sat here years ago, when I sat on this commission, we had a very lofty goal of increasing our population in Kent County from the 20,000 to 25,000. This is how you do it. I'll give you the example, an impact example that I mentioned to Dick, and that is my grandson is in 4th grade at Garnett Elementary. He said to me at dinner over the weekend, he said, "Nana, you won't believe this." He said, "We've had 7 new kids in my 4th grade class, just my class, since the beginning of the year." How many classes and how many new students? My granddaughter goes to Rock Hall Elementary, and in her 3rd grade class, she had 3 new kids. So we are seeing I think we're on the cusp of great improvements in our population and in our tax base for the county. What am I going to next? Oh, I'll be quick. Other real estate activity. We usually take a look at, okay, what other things? What residential properties, what other farms and land and commercial and multifamily sales occurred in the past year? So check out the land sales. Last year, we had a lot of land that sold. That's what translated into 35 new homes that were built in this year, right? This year, we also had a high number of land sales, and we had 56 land sales. Those are smaller parcels. They're not the large farm parcels, but those are land sales. Interesting to note, 27 of those 56 land parcels were sold in the 21661 or Rock Hall zip code. And 10 of them were in Waterman's Estates, where a developer is going to build out new duplex homes this year. On the commercial side, commercial sales are down a bit this year from last year. And a lot of that is due to interest rates where they are. But there are a lot of investors, end of last year into this year, beginning of this year, that are looking for investment properties. So I think we're going to see a turnaround there. One of the commercial properties was the largest dollar volume commercial property happened to be the 338-acre Needham Mushroom Farm in the 301 Growth Corridor off of Galena Road, and that sold for $3.5 million. Why is that in commercial and it's not in farm? First of all, it's zoned industrial, so therefore it belongs in an industrial sale, and the buyer is going to have an industrial use on that property. So therefore, it was categorized as a commercial sale, not as a farm sale.
What's the new use going to be?
It's a wood products company.
Furniture?
No, not furniture. That would be nice. That would be a little higher level of integration than what they do, but building products.
Okay.
Okay. Just to round it out, multifamily, we saw the sale of 4 multifamily properties this year, and two were in Chestertown and 2 were in Fairleigh. There you go. Those are part of the notes, in the notes. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. Regional home sales comparison. One of the other things we've always done historically is look at sales in Kent County versus our neighboring counties. Cecil County, Queen Anne's, Caroline, and Talbot. We look a lot like Caroline County when it comes to home sales. We always have, right? One of the things I added that I thought was interesting this year versus years past was new home sales, and how does the sale of new homes impact the sold units and sold dollars and the median sold prices of our neighboring counties in addition to our own. And you can see the 2 highest new sales counties, the two counties that had the highest volume of new sales as a percentage of their sales were Kent County and Queen Anne's County. Interesting to note that those had the lowest drop in sales and the lowest drop in sales volume, dollars. So it's interesting to see, where the counties are investing in development and developing properties. We're seeing a healthier real estate market overall. I will make note that a lot of what I see are development that's happening as we as a county had intended or wanted within or right surrounding or right in our municipalities. And that's where we're seeing a lot of the growth. I'll mention that right now, Rock Hall is going through their comprehensive plan, and we hope to have a new comprehensive plan within the next, hopefully, 3 months in Rock Hall. One of the major changes in the land use in Rock Hall are the 50 acres that are behind the Walgreens property in Rock Hall. That in the proposed land use for that property, it's changing from mixed-use industrial commercial to mixed-use residential commercial. And the Planning Commission in Rock Hall is looking at possibly a site for 100 new homes to be built on that site. That's within the town limits of Rock Hall, and it has public water and sewer served there.
Which is smart growth.
Yes, which is the way we want to grow, right? Consistent with our comp plan, with our Kent County comp plan, and with the comp plan for Rock Hall. Next slide, yeah. I ran across this slide, and I have to tell you, I ran across this slide in the report that came out from our multiple list, Bright multiple list system, and it showed the Mid-Atlantic median home price and the growth in that home price. If you look at the eastern shore of Maryland, well, it's not just the eastern shore. Okay, so if you look at the eastern shore number, Maryland's eastern shore median home price grew more than any other region in the Mid-Atlantic area. It grew by 7.6. Thank you. Really little number on this. Yes. Anyway, interesting to note, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, why do you think that is? As we go to the market view, all right, so this is a summary basically that just talks about what I already talked about, so I'm not going to. The Eastern Shore remains a desirable place to be. I can tell you of at least five buyers I had this year. I always ask the same question. Why do you want to buy property in Kent County? Why do you want to come here? And 5 of those prospects told me the same thing. As trouble mounts in the world and in our cities, people like and look at the Eastern Shore as a safe and secure place to live. And that's why we come here, and that's why we live here, right? Anyway,
Cindy, well done.
there you go.
Questions?
What's going on with the Kennedyville development?
Maybe, Jamie, do you have a,
I can.
can you address that?
So we went with the county commissioners, oh, my days run together, a couple weeks ago, ladies, a couple weeks ago, and talked about how the county wanted to develop that land. So there was a larger plan to build it out based on purchasing other pieces of property. And the county commissioners do not have a desire to do that. They have a desire to finish out current Phase 2 of Kennedyville Village. So now Public Works is working on redoing the numbers to find out what type of infrastructure has to be done. To do the whole large plan, it was like $5 million. So it was not desirable for a developer to come in there and complete that project. Now that we're going to back it back down and say we want to finish out those 34 lots and we want to attract a developer, now we're getting ready to start reaching out to some of the people that we've already had conversations with that didn't have an appetite for the $5 million infrastructure, but may have an appetite for a $2 million infrastructure ask. So that is where we are, and we're waiting for numbers from Public Works at this time. So we want those 34 homes, we want that development to be finished, and those property owners in Phase 1 and 2 to have everything they were promised.
Other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Are you seeing of the people moving to this area that this is their second or third home versus moving here as their first home?
I can say the properties that are selling in Chestertown, that are the newer homes, that's a primary residence.
Right.
I would say in the county as a whole, probably 60% are going to use that property full-time as their primary residence immediately, and another 20 to 30 will be retiring here within the next 5 years.
Interesting. I see a lot of people coming to the winery that are young people
Right.
that have bought homes here, and they're running them as Airbnbs. And there's no plan for them to live here anytime soon. So I'm just wondering
We
about that.
see that less.
Okay.
And in fact, I felt it interesting, Judy, to note that in 2023, we saw many fewer people buying homes intending to use them as short-term rentals than in the last 3 years. I think that number is coming down.
Okay.
And it's a law of supply and demand. Really, as the number of short-term rentals gets to a point of market saturation, nobody will buy them to short-term rent at their home anymore. And then we will reach equilibrium at some state.
But I also have employees that work for me that are finding it hard to find affordable housing, and that
Agreed.
they're often outbidded in order to get into an affordable house. So, and that practice is still going on right now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But many of those buyers are not using those, not in those that I see, and as high a number as previously.
Okay.
For short-term rentals.
Final question for you, Cindy. The future, you optimistic, pessimistic? Don't know what to think.
For Kent County, I'm optimistic. I really am, because I see in our municipalities, I hope I see in our county, but I know I see in our municipalities, the recognition that they need to grow, that they have to grow, they have to build more property, they have to build more housing units, and that they have to look at what can they do to make their communities more attractive to not just home buyers, but businesses and commercial development. And that's the reason for my optimism.
We thank you for coming back and sharing this data. I think all of us know where you live and work. And should we have follow-up questions, we can
You know where
pepper
to
you with
find
them.
me. I should have put my phone number on
We'll
there.
pretend to be buyers and we'll,
You don't have to pretend.
but thank you,
Fine.
Cindy.
Thank
This was excellent. Well done.
Thank you.
And come back anytime, like Aaron. He's in the habit of coming here on the second Wednesday of every month. Staff reports.
Okay, I think we do have a couple. These guys first, and then I'll.
Hello, Judy, I'm Katie, I'm the Economic Development Manager. Welcome.
Nice to see you.
Okay, I just have a couple quick updates. One is our micro I grant is closing tomorrow, and as of this morning, we had 10 submissions. We already have our judging panel or committee formed, so we'll be working on that over the next few weeks.
For everybody's edification, your mini grants are what range?
2,500 up to 10,000. Also, we wanted to mention that there will be an AI conference at Chesapeake College, sponsored by the Upper Shore Workforce Investment Board. And its focus is, learning how AI is impacting government, business, and the academic world. That's going to be on Friday, April 5th at 8 a.m. at Chesapeake College, and there's a link online to register. We also sent it out in the newsletter yesterday too, but if anyone's interested, we can pass that information along. The other thing is we've been working with Queen Anne's County, Cecil County, Washington College, Upstart Maryland, TEDCO, Upper Shore Regional Council on the Upper Shore Start One Up Roadshow, which is going to be at Washington College on April 9th. And basically it's calling all startups and entrepreneurs within Kent, Cecil, and Queen Anne's County to come and pitch their ideas for a chance to also video their pitch, to use promotion, and also prize money is in the mix as well. So we'll start pushing that out once we get the details finalized, but hopefully next week we'll start promoting that. We're also continuing to receive a lot of inquiries about tax incentives, grants, different programs. So we've been pushing that information out, and we're exploring some other ways to push that out even further. And then my final thing was somebody had asked previously about the boards and committees interest form on the website. So I just wanted to show everybody real quick where that can be found. So if you go to the government tab on kentcounty.com, there's boards and committees right here.
Is that .com or .org?
.com for the
Okay.
website. And then it's right here. We're going to have it more prominent on the new website, but it's right at the top here. And if you click that, it takes you to a form where you can fill out your contact information and the boards and committees you're interested in. And then you can submit that, and then it goes to the appropriate people. That was all I had for my updates today.
And Katie, if you don't mind, since you're already there, will you show them, like, when you go to our board and commission, or to the commission, Economic and Tourism Development Commission, since you're there, there's also a interest form there as well.
Yes, that was
But
right
that's
here.
where obviously the code is for how we're structured, the agenda, the minutes, the live video. So there's a lot of information there. And some of it was developed because some of the business owners wanted to find out what was going on, but they couldn't necessarily attend a meeting. So we tried to make everything available in one place so that they could go back and read or watch a video whenever they had time to do so. So, thank you.
Questions to Katie?
All right, thank you.
Hello.
Ellen?
Happy Valentine's Day. It's Crow. I'm Shallon. I'm the tourism manager. So a couple of things that I wanted to touch base on. One that's very exciting is our department applied for an EDA grant through the Office of Tourism. And we just found out yesterday that we were awarded that grant. So we'll have $112,000 that we are going to put towards television and streaming radio marketing, which is something We touched on last year with the additional money we received from the state for marketing, but we really weren't going to be able to do it this year. That money is to be spent in FY '24 and FY '25. So we have a plan that we put forth for the proposed budget when we applied for the grant. So now we're just going to have to reach out to the vendors and get the ball rolling on that.
FY '24, '25 is kind of like the year ahead.
Yes. So from now through July, and then from July to July.
Right.
And then, since we met last month, I have spent most of my time traveling. I had a lot of events that took place between January and February. The first was the AAA Travel Showcase, which was in Pittsburgh. Kent County shared a booth with Hartford and Cecil counties. The three of us make up what we call, it's a collaboration called the Upper Bay Best Bets. So we had a booth there for 3 days. During the snow, it was negative 10 degrees. It was a wonderful time, but people in Pittsburgh don't care. They get on the roads and attend everything anyway. The information that I had kind of made some notes from the show, Jamie sent out in her staff report a couple weeks ago. We ended up with 164 raffle submissions, which we added to receive our tourism newsletter. We found a winner for our raffle submission. And one kind of anecdote from the show was, I took some time and kind of walked around, and there weren't any other booths that I saw that were doing a giveaway like we were. So our giveaway was one night in each of our 3 counties, and along with that, a gift certificate to a restaurant. So people were really, really excited. I mean, it's basically a free 3-day trip to the Upper Bay Best Bets. So the lady who won is very excited. Her and her husband are coming in the spring.
Good.
I also went to the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg last Sunday. The state office, along with DNR, has a booth there for the whole, is it 10 days? 9 days of the show, 10 days of the
It's
show?
at least 10 days, because it goes one weekend through the next weekend.
Yeah. They had a booth, so there is a DMO from every county that attends one day.
DMO is Direct Marketing
Yes, organization. So a tourism representative from each county kind of picked a day to spend in Harrisburg. And the building, if you've ever been to the Farm Expo, the building itself is 11 acres. I mean, you have to take your walking shoes. It's massive. I walked through it because I inadvertently parked on the wrong end. And from what I saw, local representation, Molly's had a huge store set up along a whole wall. Schrader Outdoors, which I think technically is Queen Anne's, was there, and Hopkins Game Farm, and Intimidator Charter Boat was there. So there was, plenty of people from Kent, and that was just in the outdoor exhibitor hall that I was in, which was the smallest hall. So there might have been other local representatives in other areas. I just didn't come across them in my travels. I also went to Tourism Day in Annapolis last Friday, which happens every year. It's put on by MTC, which is the Maryland Tourism Coalition. And then a few weeks ago, I traveled to Haverty Grace with some people from the town of Rock Hall to ride and get a tour and get information about their Ride the Tide trolley system. It's a shuttle service that they have up there for free in the town of Haverty Grace. They have 6, basically 12 to 14 passenger giant golf carts that they have modified and put out on the road, and they shuttle people in routes all year long, except for I think 2 months in the wintertime, from Thursday to Sunday. So they were checking it out as part of the kind of transportation initiative going on in Rock Hall to figure out a plan. So, and that's all I have.
Your radio and TV grant that you've gotten, we're spending for the next year and a half, are you targeting certain radio and TV stations? Where are they?
Yes, we've already had that kind of mapped out. I can share that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, WBAL is one, WJZ, WMAR.
That's
Baltimore. And then the iHeart streaming, we haven't ironed out, I don't think, the geographic area that we're going to stream for yet, because we're just still in the initial quote process, but they can be nationally. We just have to get, into the weeds
Nothing
with them.
directly out of Washington?
Isn't WMAR Washington?
At this time, but
That's Baltimore.
Okay.
those stations do bleed into that territory, but not a direct target there.
And you can use up $150,000 really fast.
Very fast.
Very fast.
Okay, questions of,
The Haverty Grace trolley, is that, you talked about the Rock Hall trolley, is that to replace the shuttle that sort of, or the, like, old style of rock hall trolley?
The old trolley.
Okay.
I don't think it's a replacement. I think they're just kind of trying to get some ideas and what could happen and see what works in other towns. Havre de Grace was the first town in Maryland to kind of do this program with these style carts. They had to get special exceptions from the state to have them be basically road legal to put them on the road because they are technically too big to register. They're too heavy. So the town person the two townspeople that we met from Havre de Grace sort of went through it from the beginning through the end and offered a lot of insight on what not to do, what to do, who to contact, who you don't need to contact, what these carts need to have on them. I mean, it was a lot of information to get. And then we took a tour, like we actually rode the trolley on the route. They showed us where they store them in a garage. I mean, they gave us a lot of information about it.
So Rock Hall has a transportation committee.
Okay.
That actually meets next week is the first meeting. So they are talking about what they want to do going forward. We've reached out to some of the current partners. And I think you guys read in my report, Delmarva Craft will not be doing any transportation. So we need to look at other options.
Thank you, Shellen, and
Thank you.
2 to 3 hours at a time, right?
What was that?
They only run a couple hours, right?
Yeah, they run for about 3 hours, and then they have to be put on charge. So essentially, the town can't have one. They would have to buy 2 or 3, so they can always hop on one and go. One's always on charge while one's running. It's a pretty elaborate system, and a pretty hefty price tag, too, to start it off.
Where
so.
does the money come from?
The
to
town,
pay-
the town. Havre de Grace pays for it.
Wow.
And it's a free service. They don't charge anything. They don't advertise. It's a completely free service. I was shocked when we walked in, and that was our first question, how do you fund this? But yeah, the town, it was the mayor of Havre de Grace, it was his main initiative when he became the mayor, and they made it happen. It's a great system, but it was, expensive.
Do you have any idea how much the town?
Well, I kind of looked into it, and when you buy one of those carts, one of them, just to get it shipped here and built is, anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 for a cart. And then the modifications they added had to be another $15,000 to $20,000.
Do you have any idea what the town's budget for the program is?
No.
overall? Okay.
No. The upkeep on them is very minimal. I had asked about the charging stations and, if there was a big difference in electric, because when you walk in this garage, there's 6 huge carts that are all plugged in. Each cart has 12 batteries on it. So it's a lot. But they said they use like a municipality building that has a bunch of different reasons that people use it, and they never notice the difference in like the electric bill really charging them. So once you pay for them and get them, the upkeep payment, it's very little maintenance that these require. It's just the initial buying all of these carts and finding a place to store them.
Cindy, you had a question.
The town of Havre de Grace has a population of 14,000.
I Googled it while I was in Havre de Grace. When the guy from the town was talking to me, I Googled what's the population, and I said, well, that's where this tax base comes from that Rock Hall doesn't have. So, yeah.
Versus our 1,200.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Shellen, yes, Judy?
Yeah, I have one that's sort of not related to that, but we're getting more requests for these large motor coach. Are you following that?
Yes. Are you talking about with ABA?
Yeah.
With
well,
Helen?
Yes.
Yes,
I
yes.
have 3 tours with her, but then I have a group from Ohio, Ted and Ed's Great Adventure. He's bringing 100 out. I don't know how he found us. That's happening in May. But I didn't know, like, is there a place to go and find out and spread information that we're an attractive place to bring tourists to?
Yeah, so we actually had a meeting with Helen from ABA, which is the American Bus Association, a couple months ago. And Helen attended the conference that they have every year in Nashville. In the last few weeks, she went. From that, she actually, because we have a partnership with her, she supplied us with an 18-page document that was all leads from that show. And it's
Oh,
attended
cool.
by different bus companies. And in it, she actually breaks it down to, here is this group, this is where they're from, here's their contact information, this is what they're interested in, whether it's groups for wineries or groups for concert venues or historical. She breaks it all down so we can reach out to those companies, give them information. She passed our information on to them while she was at the show. She told us that she had booked a few trips with
Yeah.
Crow.
Yeah, and there's a number of people coming from Lancaster.
That's what she had said.
Yeah.
She has quite a few groups that come from Ocean City as well, so you might have some that are coming from that that end at some point. But yeah, we're in contact with her. I actually have a meeting, an ABA kind of post-conference meeting tomorrow with a lot of the other tourism representatives in the state, and Helen's leading the meeting. So I think we'll get some more information from that. But yeah, we are in constant contact with Helen about different things that she can do. The group from Ohio, I'm not sure. I haven't heard of them.
It's a partnership with the Eastern Shore, because except for Worcester County, where Ocean City is, they have their own. But the other counties partner with Helen to represent them at the ABA shows.
Oh, cool.
Paula, you had a question?
Well, first I want to congratulate you on getting the grant. I think you guys are doing a fabulous job of identifying grant opportunities and successfully securing those funds. I guess my concern on the flip side is, given the budget situation this year, that doesn't sort of indicate a risk of losing some funding from the county,
No.
of having
it's-
them argue that you've got this other money, so.
I don't believe that to be the case. It's a one-time grant, and it's very specific. So just like the DMO grant that we get every year for marketing Kent County as a destination from the state, it's very specific as to what we do with it and how we market,
I'm guessing in
what's
this
in our
grant,
message.
there's no operating dollars.
And it's the same. No operating dollars. We can only spend it on marketing. I mean, they make sure that we spend it on what they want us to, they intend, and which is great, because we need to do that anyway. But I don't foresee that being an issue, Paula. They know that
But you
it's.
also get money from the county for similar
Correct.
applications, not including operating funds.
We do get some marketing money from the county, and the way that the state grant that we get annually is calculated is based on the county spend.
It's a match.
So,
Okay.
not necessarily a match, but they do use that in the formula, because what they don't want you to do is replace county money with the state money. They want you to
That was your
enhance
point.
it. It is a
was my
requirement
point.
to
That was
enhance
my
the, okay,
Right.
yeah.
Have we gotten any confirmation of budget?
For 2025, nothing from the state?
No, from the county.
Not yet. We just, that's a great question. We just got our budget documents from the Office of Finance, and it looks like revenue projections will be complete on March 25th. And then the budget from the departments to the county commissioners will be on April 2nd. And then the budget workshops with the county commissioners start on April 9th. And then, all of those take place to go up to the public hearing where the almost final budget is presented to the public, and then the county commissioners then vote on that at a later date. Does that help?
Yeah, yeah. Is there a point at which members of the commission can
Anytime.
offer their testimony?
Anytime, honestly, anytime. And it's good to, like, if you want to be involved in the process, looking at the, being on hand for the March 25th budget revenue projections. So I'm thinking that 25th, I might have to look. I don't know if that's a budget day or if, okay, I think this is what it is. On 3, department heads present budget to the commissioners. I'm going to double check, but that April 2nd might be the day to start following the process, because that might be when the revenue projections all feed down into that. I was going to ask Pat today, but I did not get the opportunity before this meeting. But that's what it looks like to me. And if Shelley's online, she might be able to say whether I'm incorrect or correct there. But it looks like to me that April 2nd is the day where everything, like a big overview, will be presented.
So do you think
start.
that our April meeting would be a good time to go over the department budgets at our meeting here? Or when do you think that would be good?
Or is that premature?
Yeah,
But if you want to be involved, you kind of got to know what's happening before it's not premature, when you said anybody can be involved. So I'm just questioning about when would be the best time for us to get an overview, so you can figure that out.
overview of the departmental budget.
Well, I think we should do
or-
both, because, budgets tell you your priorities, so,
You won't get the budgets for the county as a whole until 4/2.
Right.
Oh, that's the day you would also get, our proposed budget as well.
Right, you
So
said
if you
that,
want to
so-
be involved prior to that, I would say
No,
contact
no, I mean,
me.
after you do your budget, maybe like, I'm just saying, that April meeting, after you've done your budget, we could hear, you could walk us through it. And we could have a chance to get ready to input if we wanted to.
Sure.
Which ties into an agenda
Right,
item in a
but I
minute.
just thought we were discussing this now, we could clarify it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome home.
Thanks.
Any other staff reports, Jamie? Yours?
No, the only other thing I wanted to, so I do have one small other thing. I did pass out the nominating committee policy and procedure. We updated it to include the tourism commission because we kind of combined them both. And thanks to Rose for her formatting. I think it spells it out a little clearer. Before, we kind of had them intertwined. So now it talks about appointment and reappointment, and remember, those are recommendations only. And then the election of officers at the beginning of each calendar year. So we just combined them, updated the document, and that is available if anybody needs it. That's it.
And what are you doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I'm going to Annapolis for the Economic Development Day in Annapolis. And Paula and Dick are joining me.
What is that?
Plan to join me. It is with the legislators, and we will get an overview from the Secretary of Commerce. We'll get an overview from one of the legislators. And, we're also talking about the economic impact. Sorry, I'm focused on today. The economic impact of economic development in the state of Maryland, actually. So for every dollar spent, Beacon did a study, for every dollar spent on economic development, it returns $9.17, I think it is, back to the community. So we'll be talking about that dashboard, that's another part of it, and we also have an opportunity to go meet with legislators.
An annual thing organized by
Yep.
the Maryland Economic Development Association. So, it's not on the agenda, but Dan, we'd like to call on you to give a report on the superintendent search and anything else that's going on with the school system.
So we just opened up today our first public input survey on the superintendent search. So we are using the Maryland Association of Boards of Education to conduct the search for us. This survey will help them prepare both marketing materials for our search and will help them with screening applicants. It's a simple survey, basically asking, what are the positives about Kent County? What are our highlights? What are the characteristics?
Who's the audience for the survey? Parents in the system or everybody in the county?
The entire community. So I'll get to that in just a moment. So we're looking at the positives of Kent County to help promote it as we promote the position. The characteristics we're looking for, the community is looking for in a superintendent. And then the challenges a new superintendent can expect to face. We're a unique county, and with that comes unique sets of challenges. So we sort of want to get a sense throughout the broader community about what they feel those are. So we are distributing it. We have it online now, and we've shared that through a variety of online and social media channels. We do have paper copies available that we're distributing, as well as flyers. Each of you have copies of those in English and Spanish that we'd love for you to pass out and share. Jamie has an electronic copy of those files. If you need more printed, she can share that with you, or you're welcome to contact me, and I can get some more made up for you. We really want to cast as wide a net as possible, so we're trying to get this out to businesses, the schools, the libraries, local banks, churches, any churches you're members of, any sports teams that you know that you might coach or have family coaching. We really want to get a big community response to this survey.
Have you handed this out to the new Hispanic grocery stores? We have 3,
We will be, yes.
right? We have 3? I think we have 3.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
2 in Chestertown, 1 in Millington.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So the survey just opened today. And I am a one-person shop, so distribution is moving forward, but
What's the time frame for the survey, the search, and selection?
the full timeframe, I don't have with me. The goal is the absolute drop-dead deadline is that we have to have a new superintendent by July 1st.
Okay.
The survey closes on the 25th.
This survey, yes, will close on the 25th. That way, we're getting those promotional materials out and prepared early, so that we do have plenty of time to advertise the position nationwide.
Right.
And to get a good
Dr. Council's
response.
last day is,
Her last day is June 30th.
okay, so hopefully there's some overlap, or,
That is the goal, yes, that we do have an overlap with that.
okay. Questions? I didn't cut you off, Dan, did I? Or, okay,
We're good?
well,
Thank you, Dan.
All right.
good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, the survey seemed really short.
Yes.
It's still up on my screen, I'm looking at it.
Okay, we have an unfinished business item, and that's just to talk about, brainstorm, who would like to come. We had two excellent presentations today.
We do have two speakers for March.
March?
Thank you. Debbie with the Incumbent Worker Training Program, and who else do we have? Does anybody remember? Okay, we have two. I'm sorry, Shalyn will open it for us. And then we do have somebody in mind. I understand we might be inviting the,
We got a suggestion to invite the Secretary of the Maryland Department of Planning to talk about smart growth and priority funding, which ties a lot into what Cindy was talking about, is most of the development is happening where water and sewer and other services exist already, and zoning. So what's the state's focus on that? Mayor Foster has, of Chestertown, has volunteered to make that request to invite her.
She's local, so.
Yeah,
She's in
I can see-
Chestertown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm guessing, especially during the General Assembly.
Oh, I'm just saying she's local. I'm not saying if she'll come more or less
Yeah.
because you ask
Yeah,
her.
but-
I'm just saying she doesn't have
And
far to
I
go.
guess since we only meet once a month, we may want to convene to meet her calendar, a
Yeah,
special
I'll-
meeting around that.
I can check in with her and see what might work. Yes. Okay, yes, trails, there we go. Owen Bailey, Eastern Shore Land Conservancy will be here in March, along with Debbie, with the Incumbent Worker Training. Thank you.
I do want to respect everybody's timing and their calendars. Two presentations in one meeting is hard to compress into an hour.
Well, I
But-
mean, we normally met for 2 hours prior.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the commission's decision. Do we want to keep it at an hour?
I thought we were always 2 hours. We never get out of here before 5, so I just thought that's what it was.
On Wednesdays, my next meeting is not till 7, so I'm good.
So generally, so you guys tell me.
Okay.
I'm flexible.
If we're going to come out, you might as well do something, you know? I mean, I can't see coming out, go through the minutes and leave.
Yeah. Suggestions for speakers?
I think Rosie should come from Local Management Board.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure she would love to. Thank you, that's a good one. Because we work a lot with Rosie.
She's just an amazing resource, and you would only have her on, I think. I don't think you need another when she comes.
Yeah, and she, I wanted to say something earlier with home ports, but I didn't want to make it longer. But, the local management board does maintain a family resource directory, and it does have some aging programs in there as well. So some medical stuff, some personal services, things like that can be found on that family resource directory that is housed on the county website. And the Upper Shore Aging presented, and the Commission on Aging presented to the county commissioners on Tuesday, and they had done a resource directory prior to COVID, and they haven't done it in several years. They're getting ready to revamp that, and they're basically taking information from the family resource directory that the county maintains, and they're going to be putting that out in the Tidewater Trader.
We also have John Stratweiser with us.
Yes, we
here
do.
today, I guess as an observer, is that?
I try to come when I can.
Great.
Well-
But I think we would be well served to hear about what's happening in the arts.
yeah.
We certainly consider the arts an economic driver.
Absolutely.
If you'd like me to talk about that, I'd be happy to.
Quality of life, as Shellen testified, is a selling point.
So I have a point to make. So at the last meeting, I asked if we had any end-of-the-year reports, and you said we were too small, and you've thought about it in the past, and you didn't do it. And as a small farmer, I do a ton of evaluation. So I think it's important that we do them. And so I got thinking, what would we like to hear? And I went through the strategic plan. And there are many things that we haven't heard about that we should be keeping track of, and I'll just list them off. I can share them later. But you want to double the numbers of entrepreneurs using hot desk, where are we on that? Report the number of new business per year, so we should do like a net, loss and report on the progress of the Buy Local program by December 2023, have 25 employers at the Business Appreciation Week, increase the circulation of the monthly newsletter by 30%, attract ag-related industries, attract supply chain businesses, encourage development of new health-related business. I mean, there's lots and lots of things that I think we should get a graph on, or some kind of chart, or some way to track these things and
scorecard.
and report on them quarterly as needed, so that, because I don't have a handle on, you say we met a lot of people, or we did, I don't know what a lot is. I need to know.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but I'll go over
Yeah,
it.
but
I don't mind going over it again. We are working on the scorecard. It's just not ready. So we are working on that. And unfortunately, we did have a lot of turnover when Jana left and departments merged. So we're doing the best we can, and we will continue to work on it.
Well, maybe we
And-
don't need a scorecard. Maybe you just take a couple per, take one section of the strategic plan that you've kind of got a handle on and give us what you have, instead of waiting for this scorecard to go by another 6 months or however it might take. We don't really know. So pick some of these that they should have been done by now, or some of the easier ones, or some of the ones that you have the information handy, and give us an update. I mean, I've got 2 pages of things, and, I'd just love to know what's going on with regard to our strategic plan, and to see how we're progressing or where we need to put more efforts.
We have reported on numbers prior. We've reported on newsletter numbers. And I'm not saying, it's not all in one place. We will work on it.
So I get that. So when we have speakers, my point is, when we have speakers come, or when you give reports, let's tie it to the strategic plan, and maybe we can all keep one handy with us, and we can go through it and say, okay, this is, I'm update on this, and I can get a handle on this topic, instead of it being quick, this thing, and then it goes, and I don't know what it should have been, I don't know what it was last year. I really think we need to have more context with some of these numbers, too, to know where we are and where we're going.
It is our plan.
Yeah, and I looked through it a second time, and I like it more every time I go through it. So, it takes, you got to read it and sort of let it sink in. But there's some really good things in there, like, developers of 55 and plus communities we were going to meet with. Where's that going, and who we talked to? And then, the towns, you're going to meet with them once a year. So where are the reports on that? Or maybe we should get them in, the town managers or town council members, to talk to us about what's going on in the county, since we don't have any
Right.
representation on this board from them. It's a good way to hear what they're looking at, and where their housing starts are, and infrastructure and
And
excitement.
I've seen Jamie going around meeting with various towns and mayors and councils, and so.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what
that's- but
happened.
We just need to report that to
Yeah.
ourselves.
Maybe just a standing item on the agenda to say, okay, how things relate to the overarching plan. It might be something, because I know you report on a lot of
Right.
statistics as we go, but just structuring it so that we know how it ties in, or can, have the plan in front of us, and then I think it'd be good.
When are we due to update the plan? That's an annual,
No.
5 years, 5 years.
God knows,
You
did
don't want-
myself in the eye.
Just remember, it was so much fun.
We did it in 2017 and then did it in 2022. So 2027, we'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, and you can update things as you go along, like if something's, expired on 12/23, doesn't mean you can't keep doing the Buy Local program if we are doing it at all, I don't know. So,
We are not currently, no.
and so why aren't we? Let's talk about these things and see what's going on.
Can you share your notes somehow with us?
I'll send them to Jamie, and then you can just send
Okay.
them out, or Dick, whoever wants to do
That's
that. All right.
Can I just ask, what was Owen Bailey going to talk about? Trails
Yeah.
in his capacity on the Eastern Shore Land
Yeah, it's
Conservancy?
the Eastern Shore Trail Overview update.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, because I know they're working on a whole system of trails, but he's just going to update us like where he's at with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other suggestions for speakers, topics?
Keep thinking. I'll keep thinking.
No. Yeah, keep that in the frontal lobe, and when we get together in March, we'll revisit, or you can, in the interim, you can send comments to Jamie.
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea of having town managers come and present, most of them have gone through the process this year of creating a new comprehensive plan.
Yeah, I know
for towns.
Betterton's in the process of doing their comp plan.
And it might,
We actually
might
have,
really wanna
I mean,
focus-
we have had the mayors and town managers come in, sorry. Trying to remember everybody that's come in. So we have done it. It's not that we don't do it, just they're not all going to show up.
no, and
to
I don't
one
have,
meeting.
mean
Just-
have
I'm
to
just saying.
have them come all at once. I think having individuals come, and
No, that's-
what I'd like
okay.
to know from them is how in this planning process that they did at the town level, how that interfaces with the county's comprehensive plan, what issues they may be confronting relative to accomplishing their goals, that we as representatives of the county and the county's development arm might be able to be helpful in.
Any other thoughts?
We're going to new business or?
New business?
Okay, so at the next planning commission meeting, the Morgneck Solar people are coming forward with their second plan. And they have not, according to what they've submitted so far, complied with the county landscaping recommendations. And we want the planning commission to make sure that they do that. They sent them back the first round. And I think it'd be great if we wrote a letter supporting the planning commission to enforce the county landscaping requirements, because that project is the gateway to Kent County, and we can't have it looking like the project in Queen Anne's County. I mean, it's just a disaster. So I think it would be very important if we could support that idea that we want that to be landscaped according to what the county has adopted.
Yeah. The planning commission would be enforcing that anyway, right?
Well, they have to tell the developer that they're not going to, they want the strongest landscaping that we have proposed. So it would just encourage them to do that one more time and show them that it's very important to make sure that gateway is not turned into a nightmare.
Word around that, Jamie?
Well, just a minute, because I sit on the planning commission, and I haven't heard that there's non-compliance. So we're
Well, that's in the-
expecting in this next meeting to have a presentation
Is it March?
from,
Is it the March meeting?
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
to have a presentation
Well, there was something
from
already
solar,
handed out.
and to hear from the planning staff, and to get their recommendations.
All right, so it's to Brent, yes, well, just to encourage them to follow the county ordinance.
It's kind of chicken and the egg right now.
Yeah.
Well,
The
I
next step
think
is to hear from them what their plan
To hear from
is.
them what their planning is, and normally what happens when someone makes a presentation to the planning commission, when an applicant makes a presentation, that presentation is supported by the planning department's evaluation and recommendations relative to the applicant's request for project approval. And if they find that the applicant has not complied with what's been recommended, they will state that. And that would be the appropriate, if this group wants to make a response, that would be the appropriate time
Time and place.
to.
What, after the planning department has said they agreed or disagreed with the applicant, then when it's going already in front of the planning commission, then when would we do that?
Well, the planning commission will have a recommendation for the commissioners. Now, the planning commission.
There's another step after this.
Only recommends, they don't approve
Right.
recommend.
To the department.
No, to the commissioners.
Okay. Okay, I got it.
But regardless, I think a strong letter, or a letter from the economic development saying that we support the county's landscaping can go in at any point.
But the county hasn't, we don't know what the county's required.
We do, it was a text amendment a while back.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
A text amendment
uh-huh,
that says,
yep, solar landscaping.
I can look into it.
Yep. Look into it, Jamie, and find out where the individual
I'll talk to
pieces
Bill.
are. Talk to Bill. Okay.
Okay.
New business, other new business? Public comments. John or Aaron, you got,
Well, my retirement has been very short-lived, and I've been roped into being on Rock Halls.
Oh, I didn't,
And,
it's a shorter commute.
and so, with my history and my relationships in here, I'm kind of the de facto liaison to you guys. So we'll still be working closely together, I think.
Good.
Welcome back.
You're always welcome here. That's a paying position.
I wish.
I do have
I
one
don't think
thing.
I even get my $60 anymore.
No.
Jamie?
I just want to add that the county commissioners did approve a software platform to identify short-term rental operators that are not paying the lodging tax, to go after that revenue that they should be paying. So that is, they approved it Tuesday night, and we're getting the contract signed, going through the procurement process, and we should be launching that software within the next couple of months. It will be effective July 1st, and it's a new portal. It will identify, it will monitor, it will collect the tax, can be paid online, along with filling out the report online, so it'll eliminate a lot of work for the operators as well, and then also the reporting. So we're moving forward.
and who's the enforcer, Rose? Are you the enforcer if they don't comply? I'm just kidding.
That's a good question, though. So it
Should be good.
enforce what, though? You know, so if
Enforce
you're
payment,
enforcing
right?
payment, we don't really have somebody who's responsible for that, but we are going to put some things into place to get there. So, yeah. Because we want it to be a fair,
That's fair, right?
even playing field for everyone.
Right.
So, yeah.
Is there anything else for the good of the cause?
No, sir.
Yeah, we're looking for a motion.
Move to adjourn.
There he is.
second.
All in favor, stand. Thank you, good meeting. Judy, welcome.
Thank you.
I hope you'll come back.
Oh, yeah, of course I'll be back.
Okay, turn your mics off.